last night was a rough night watching this movie. Hey, what's up, you guys? FilmFan0599 here again, and today we're going to review Rough Night. So Rough Night stars Scarlett Johansson, Julian Bell, Zoe Kravitz, Isla Glazer, and Kate McKinnon. And what this film is basically about, it's about Scarlett Johansson. She's going to get married, and her friends throw her bachelorette party, and they get a male stripper, and they accidentally kill him. They accidentally kill the male stripper, and now they need to find out a way to kind of hide the body and, not get in trouble. So, what did I think of Rough Night? I was not looking forward to this movie. It looked stupid, the movie. It really did. It just looked like another attempt at making, another generic kind of Bridesmaid rip-off movie. That's all they were trying to do. Really, that's what it looked like to me. And yeah, it was exactly what I expected. This is terrible. This is awful. Wow, this is really, really awful. This is so atrocious. This movie, Rough Night, is awful. This is a terrible comedy. It really is. It is an awful, awful movie. So, let's get into the positives. Nope. None at all. There's nothing good about this movie. Nothing at all. So, might as well just jump straight into the negatives, since there's nothing good to say about this movie to me. So, the negatives are, first, the acting. The acting in this movie is beyond atrocious. It's terrible. Wow, this acting is completely awful. Everyone is terrible in this movie. Everyone. Scarlett Johansson, she's a fantastic actress. She really is, but my God almighty, she was awful in this movie. She really was. She was terrible in this film. She does an absolutely awful job in this movie. She really does. She's terrible. She was obnoxious, her character. She was just so bad. Julian Bell, who is the absolute worst character in this movie, she is so annoying. Literally, any word that she said in this movie was completely awful and was just shut up. Seriously, it was just, every time I heard her say a word in this movie, I was just shut up, because she is so terrible in this movie. She's the worst character. She's so obnoxious and just really annoying. She makes the same jokes over and over and over again, and it just gets so repetitive and so annoying with her character. She's by far the worst character in this entire film. Zoe Kravitz is not good either. She's pretty bad. Isla Glazer, I believe that's how you say her name. She wasn't good. She's probably the second worst character in this movie. She plays this protester and whatever, and she's terrible. She's so annoying as well. She got under my skin so much. I was just go away, please. And Kate McKinnon, she can be funny, but my God, what the heck? She is not good in this movie either. She tries to do an Australian accent in this movie. She's supposed to be Australian in this movie. Wow, that's gotta be one of the worst fake Australian accents I've ever heard in my life. That was bad. That was really, really terrible. That was one awful Australian accent. And just the things that she does in this movie, really, she just wasn't good. And then, Ty Sheridan and Demi Moore also in this movie. They play, a couple that are neighbors with, the group of friends and whatever. And they're a bunch of nymphomaniacs, basically. And they're just awful. They're just two side characters for the sake of side characters. And it's just, they literally serve no purpose besides that. Literally, they serve no purpose except for that, and they're terrible. Just, the acting is so bad in this movie, like, it is atrocious in this movie. The acting is just beyond atrocious in this film. The comedy. What comedy? Like, nothing is funny in this movie. Literally, nothing, and I mean nothing, made me laugh in this movie. I'd even crack a smile. Like, nothing was funny in this movie. Literally, like, nothing was funny. The comedy is so awful. Because they rely... here's the biggest problem with all of these R-rated comedies. They rely on the same repetitive jokes all the time. It's just, let's make jokes about, like, penises, alcohol, drugs, as many times as we can. Because it's the only jokes we can make in this movie. Like, that's literally the only jokes they make in this movie. And they fall flat on their face so much. Like, it's like they don't even know what comedy is. Like, seriously, it's like they don't even know what comedy is really. Like, the comedy is so terrible and so repetitive with the same old jokes. Not to mention that this movie makes no sense at all. Like, really, it doesn't. Just the stuff that happens in this movie, you're just questioning yourself, would this really happen? Like, you really question that a lot during this movie. You really do. You really question a lot in this movie of, like, would this actually happen? Like, you question that, and you're like, no, it wouldn't. Because it makes no sense. And also, not to mention that there's some plot points and some, you know, moments that just happen for no reason. Like, there's some plot points in this movie, like one involving, you know, Scarlett Johansson's soon-to-be husband. Like, there's something that involves him that literally has nothing to do with the story, literally nothing to do with anything with this movie. It's just there for some reason. Like, seriously, there's just some, like, just unnecessary plot points and just random stuff that happens in this movie that literally have nothing to do with the story. The writing is awful with this movie. It's so bad. Definitely one of the worst screenplays of the year. The writing is so atrociously bad with this movie. Like, seriously, the dialogue for all of these characters are awful. Like, literally, every word that they, like, said was awful. The dialogue is just so bad. Like, the writing is just atrocious. The directing is not good with this movie, like, at all. It's very sloppily edited. It's not that well shot. The cinematography isn't even that good with this movie. Like, it's just so poorly directed, this film. It's such a poorly directed movie. And not to mention, like, I did not feel chemistry with any of these characters. You know what I mean? Like, I felt no chemistry with these characters. Like I was saying earlier, with Bridesmaids, you felt the chemistry with all of those characters. You know what I mean? With this movie, you don't. You don't at all. Like, you don't believe any of these people are best friends. You do not at all believe that any of these people are best friends with each other. Like, they just do nothing to show, like, oh, these are best friends. Like, just their chemistry is not there. And the biggest problem to me, oh my, this movie is so boring. Lord Almighty. I was so bored during this movie. Like, this was such a boring movie. This movie's an hour and 41 minutes. This movie did not need to be that long. Like, seriously. This movie did not need to be an hour and 41 minutes. They could have shortened it a bit. This movie drags on forever. Forever, I tell you. This movie just drags on forever. It's, like, it's so boring. Like, literally, I was so bored. Within the minute of watching this movie, I was so bored. Like, seriously, like, how do you make a movie that boring? Please explain that to me. Please. Just, oh, it is so boring. It drags on forever. Rough Night, awful comedy. Nothing more to be said. It is an awful comedy. It's so terrible. It is definitely, without question, one of the worst movies of the year. It is awful. So it's time for my official grade on Rough Night. And my official grade on Rough Night, without question, is an F. From the awful characters, the awful characters / the awful acting, to the awful comedy, the awful writing, the movie making no sense at all. Just everything about this movie is terrible. It is such an awful comedy. Like, just quit it with these R-rated comedies that do the same shtick, the same Hangover / Bridesmaid shtick over and over again. It's getting really annoying and really repetitive. It really is. And this movie is one of those examples. Rough Night is a garbage movie. It's awful. It's garbage. It is terrible. It's one of the worst movies of the year. Definitely deserves an F. So, if you have seen Rough Night, what did you think of it? Leave in the comment section below. And I'm FilmFan0599, and we will see you out later. Peace.